Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophia. I am 22 years old. I have two kids. One ages 2.5 and one 11 months old. I had two completely different births. One was I'm happy everything ended well kind of birth, and my second one, it was the most amazing birth experience I could have ever prayed for, asked God for, and just prepared for. And it was the best experience of my life, and I would like to share it with somebody because I think there's so much negativity and fear and just negativity around birth. And so I would like to hopefully encourage somebody, and I want to share my story. It happened 11 months ago, so for 11 months I've been thinking about it, wanting to make a video because my birth was just the best memory. I think about it all the time, and I want to share my story. So I had an unplanned home birth. I gave birth in my bathtub, not on purpose. That was not my plan. My plan, I had an actual birth plan. My plan was to go to the hospital, labor at home as much as I can, go to the hospital, not get an epidural, give birth, and then as soon as possible go home. That was my plan. It turns out that not everything in life that we plan actually goes to plan. Sometimes, and actually a lot of times, God surprises us with the best experiences and the best memories. So I'm gonna share mine. But before I start my birth story, I'm gonna explain to you why it was such a positive and amazing experience. First of all, I always wanted to experience natural birth, to give birth without an epidural, unmedicated, and that was a dream of mine. I wanted to give birth the way that God intended to be, but I didn't want to be traumatized. I didn't want to have this awful memory of it. I didn't want to just be afraid of it for the rest of my life. Like, I didn't want to be traumatized, basically. And so I really prayed about it. I asked God to bless my birth so much. I prayed like as soon as I found out I was pregnant. And right now I'm not pregnant, but I'm already praying for my third birth, for my third baby, because I'm like, God, please, I want that third experience to beat the second one, but I don't know if it can. The second one was amazing, but a girl's gonna pray. So I didn't just pray, I begged God. I was like, God, please bless my birth and make it just the most amazing. And it did. God did. God was like, okay, great. I'm not saying it wasn't easy. I'm not saying it wasn't hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was the most intense I guess feeling I've ever felt. But it's crazy. Your body knows what to do. So let's get right to it. So I hit 40 weeks. I think on my due date, I started having very bad back pain. So I was like, oh yes, I'm in labor. I got so excited, and it turned out that I wasn't in labor. Maybe I was having contractions, or I don't know, but I was not in labor. And then 5 days later, this was a Saturday, and no symptoms, nothing. I'm feeling the same, wanting to give birth. And me and my husband ended up going with my sister-in-law, who was also pregnant at the time and about to give birth. We went with them bowling because, we needed to get our mind off of, wanting to give birth. So we ended up going bowling, having lots of fun. We went out for pizza, and then around 10 p.m. we came home and just started nesting, I guess, and just cleaning up. And my husband, I asked him to put up frames with our family pictures on them on the walls, because I'd been wanting to get that done for months. And finally I was like, please do it before baby comes. I want the house to be somewhat pretty. And so he was doing that, and I was just getting ready for bed, changing our little toddler. And then I came to my husband and I was like, I'm feeling something. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's labor, maybe not. Nothing to be excited about. And so we just kind of, everything's okay, great. And so when I was changing my 1.5-year-old at the time, putting her pajamas on. I took her old clothes and grabbed it and went to put it into the laundry basket. And like when I knelt down, I heard kind of like a pop, and you kind of feel it, you kind of hear it like in your body as well, because it's in your body. And that's when I realized that my water broke. And so I kind of like screamed and laughed at the same time, because finally, I was waiting for that moment for too long. And so once my water broke, my husband like runs into the room where I was, and he's like, what happened? You know, and I was like, I think my water broke. And he thought I was probably joking or pranking him, but you know, when you see the water dripping down, you kind of, it wasn't a lot, but I was like, look, yay. And so he understood. He took our baby girl and went to put her to sleep, while I was like, you know what, this is probably gonna be a long night, probably gonna be a long day. I'm just gonna go take a bath, because you know, why not? And so I did. I turned on the water, got into the bathtub, laid it down, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to relax. And I got my phone just in case contractions started, because I didn't have any contractions yet. So my water broke, but I didn't have any contractions yet. I got into the bathtub and I'm laying there, and my contractions start. Oh, when they started, they were not light contractions. They were strong contractions, like the ones you can't talk through. They were every 4 minutes. They were lasting 50 seconds long. So this wasn't like your normal early labor. Like this was intense. But you know, I didn't want to go to the hospital too early, because I didn't want to be sent home. And I just, yeah, that's what I wanted. And so I'm timing my contractions. My husband comes back once our baby was asleep, and he's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, ugh. And then he was like, well, this is probably going to be a long night. I'm going to take a nap. And I was like, no, please don't leave me. I can't do this by myself. This is the beginning, and it's already like, you know, so intense. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how long this is going to be. So I was like, please don't leave me. Prayer was a big part of my birth. And I think, I know it was the most important part of my birth. So when my husband came into the bathtub where I was, you know, already laboring and having contractions, the first thing I asked him to do, because I was already in my head thinking, I can't do this. This was the beginning. I was like, please pray for me right now, because I'm already like doubting myself. Like this is very, very, you know, painful. And he was like, okay, well, what do you want me to ask God in this prayer? And you know, we had maybe like a 2-minute conversation, because you know, I was having contractions all the time. And I was like, please ask God for this to be quick. Ask you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted this to be, over as soon as over before it even started. We asked God for the birth to be quick. And yeah, you can decide if God answered our prayer or not at the end, or yeah, that's just I think God not only answered it, but he was kind of like, quick, you say. I can laugh about it now. It wasn't really funny in the moment. Let's just be honest. So we were timing our contractions. Yeah, I mean, they were literally every 3-4 minutes. Like, they were really intense. I told him to go get 2 combs that I used as one of my pain relieving methods that I learned about. I'll make a video about all the methods I used and why later. But so he went and got those combs, and I was using that to relieve me and distract me from my contraction pain. And he was helping me breathe through every contraction, because, you know, they were intense. And the most importantly, he was telling me I can do it, because I was telling myself the entire time, I can't do this, like I had a choice, like I had another option. No, I didn't. I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. So And in my head, I also was having thoughts. I'm like, I don't know how long I could do this. I was telling him, like, I don't know how long I could do this. I don't know how we're gonna get it. I just didn't know anything because I was in labor. And so about 2 hours into my labor, the pain became kind of unbearable, not in the way that I couldn't like handle it, but in the way that like I was started vocalizing, and that's a nice way to say it. I started kind of screaming through my contractions. And I did that, I think, one contraction, maybe two, and I was like it became really, really intense. And then by I think a third contraction, like such a bad contraction, my husband, like out of nowhere, gets up out of the room, leaves, and then I think he got it before me that like we needed to go to the hospital because when I I was already like in squat position, screaming, and I felt a drop. So I think it was the ring of fire. I felt her head kind of drop down into my pelvis. I didn't give birth yet. I wish it was that quick. No, I felt like her head lower, so like drop into the pelvis kind of feeling. And then I was like, whoa, I think I'm giving birth already. No way. And so my husband he like runs back into the bathroom, and he's like trying to get me out of the bathtub. He's like, let's go. We need to be going. We need to be out of here. And at the hospital, we live like 5 minutes away from the hospital, by the way, so very close. And I knew at that moment, because I've watched so many births. By this time, I had like probably the last 20 weeks I was watching home births and all kinds of births, and just I knew that when you feel the head, you're almost done. And the last thing I wanted was to give birth in the car. I didn't want that. I was okay with giving birth at home, nowhere else. Home at least is privacy, you know. Not that you care in that moment. But I was like, no. I am staying right here. And I'm not a stubborn person, but in that moment I was like, no. Here. And so I just pushed. When you're having such strong contractions, like the pushing contractions, like your body's pushing for you, like you're just kind of, I don't know. I tried to help my body do what my body was already doing, which was pushing, because I knew if I pushed her out, this pain was gonna end and I would be done. And so that's what I did. I just screamed a little, pushed a lot, and within like 3 pushes, I think, she was out. I picked her up, put her on my chest, and she didn't cry, so that was a little bit scary. But my first one didn't cry either after she was born, so that happens. Not all babies cry. So I like pinched her a little bit. She cried, and I was like, oh baby. But I like fell in love right away. I saw her little face. She was so cute. And I was like, you're here finally. Like, I waited for this for so long. And yeah, my husband, at the same time when I was going through all of that, he was calling my sister-in-law to come and watch our older one. He was calling somebody else because he didn't know what to do. And then he was also calling the ambulance or 911 to come, and because not planned, obviously. And so the ambulance came really quickly. Like, I gave birth, and like literally like a minute later they like walked into the house and they helped us cut the umbilical cord, wrapped her, told us to wrap her in a towel, and I got in a robe. They put me on that bed and then carried me, and then took me to the hospital to get checked, baby checked. Everything was perfect. We were all both healthy, no complications, just nothing. I'm so happy and so thankful to God for such an amazing and quick birth experience. The entire labor lasted 2 hours, maybe not, don't know. We just estimated because nobody was looking at the time. I got to the hospital around like 3 in the morning, I think 4, and then 18 hours later we went home. So we went home at night, like 11 p.m. because we didn't want to stay. We wanted to go home. But the nurses at the hospital were amazing. They were laughing. They were like, oh, you did all the job for us. You're so amazing. Like, good job. Like, next baby, the midwives were laughing. They're like, next baby, you could just give birth at home and just, plan it. Like, you're fine, you're okay. This was awesome. Like, they were so awesome, and they fed me like a lot. I was so hungry. I don't know if anybody else experienced that afterward, but like they were bringing me jelly sandwiches before breakfast because I couldn't wait another 2 hours to eat. And then in between lunch, I think breakfast and lunch, they were bringing me stuff. And then dinner, oh man, the food was so good, so good, so good, so good. Oh. And yeah, I maybe took like a 2-hour nap and I just couldn't sleep. I was like on some kind of a high I've never felt before. I was looking at my baby. I was so in love with her. I was so just couldn't believe what just happened. It was just an experience and a feeling that I wish every mom could experience. And even though a birth can be unplanned and just difficult and unexpected in a way, it could be amazing. It really can. And I'm a Christian, so I believe in God, and I prayed so much. And the crazy thing is, towards the end of the pregnancy, I had a feeling, like, I can't explain it. I could just I mean, the only way I could explain it is it was just like an instinct, some kind of a feeling that like something is gonna go down during our labor or birth. And I didn't know what it was gonna be, but I thought it was gonna be worse. I'm not gonna say what I thought because your girl can overthink things, but I knew something was gonna happen during our birth, that something was gonna happen. Anyways, that was, I feel like that was God telling me something's gonna happen, you gotta prepare for it. So I prayed about it a lot. We even asked our church to pray about our future birth because your girl was a little bit scared. I thought something was gonna happen, and something did. I gave birth at home with my husband. No doctors, no nurses, no nothing. Yet it was the best experience of my life. My favorite memory. I probably will never be able to forget it and stop talking about it. I'm sorry, all my friends and family. I love it. And yeah, anybody else. And now it's gonna be my birth story gonna be on YouTube. That means I could rewatch it, and you can re-listen to it. So yeah, thank you for staying till the end. Anybody that's pregnant or anybody that's gonna have a baby, don't be afraid. If you're a Christian, if you believe in God, just pray. God is listening. He does not want you to have a awful birth experience. Whatever a good experience might look like for you, just pray about it and ask God to be there for you, and believe. And believe me when I say that God does not disappoint when you truly trust Him. And also, be careful what you pray for, what you wish for, because it just might come true. If anybody has heard that, because I know a few people that have wanted to give birth naturally, and maybe, I don't know if they prayed about it or not, but it happened in a way that they didn't expect, meaning like the epidural didn't work when they wanted it, or they didn't get it in time, before they were going into labor, they wanted to give birth naturally, but when they were there, they changed their mind, but something happened to where they couldn't get the epidural. So what they wanted originally happened, but it didn't happen in the way that they wanted in the moment, if you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what kind of experience I would have had if I was at the hospital. So, but I don't know. Third baby, I'm not sure. Home birth, not home birth, I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Because I'm super undecisive sometimes, and I think most of the time, but like right now, I'm not even sure anymore if I am. I heard this quote somewhere, and so about me, I can't decide anything ever. And yeah, I'm not talking about birth anymore. So, okay, bye.